Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. Chris here, time for another collector's thought on the sofa. Even though I'm not on the sofa, I'm on the desk chair again in the man cave. But yeah, two on the bounce, two thoughts of the day on the bounce, possibly a third one coming down the pipeline as well. But this particular instalment, my thought of the day, the thing I've grasped onto in my mind and I'm chewing over is the current news. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but the current news that there is yet more layoffs taking place over at Hasbro. These layoffs are taking place in Rhode Island, I think I read. I did a bit of Googling and just saw some kind of local news coverage and stuff. Less than 100 employees, which, you know, comparable to the layoffs they did last Christmas, which was, what was it, like 1,100 last Christmas, is certainly a smaller number, but no consolation for those poor 100 individuals, some of whom are well-known Hasbro folks who've done a great deal of work, very passionate about the stuff that they do. So it may only be 100, but it still sucks. The local news coverage has got conflicting reports as to why the layoffs are happening. Some local news coverage I saw said that it was about restructuring. Some said that it was operational streamlining to be more innovative and agile. Some reported that there's a potential move, office move from Rhode Island to, I think they said Brooklyn, but my North American geography is not great. So would that make sense? I don't know. I didn't make notes. I should have made notes. That's the thing about these collector thoughts of the day. I just talk into the camera and sometimes I catch myself out. But in any case, you know, conflicting news. But the bottom line, the absolute bottom line of all this is I am completely 100% convinced that this is yet another example of a failure of leadership taking place over at Hasbro. Layoffs should be your absolute last resort because you're fucking with lives. You're fucking with people's lives. And you know the shareholders aren't going to be the ones who are out of pocket. You know the senior leadership, the C-suite fuckers, aren't going to be the ones that are out of pocket. It's going to be these poor 100 souls who've got families to feed and Christmases to have and all that kind of stuff coming up. And of course the customer will feel the burden of it as well because they'll always push the price and the pain down. Always push down into the people who are most important for your organization, us who spend money with them, and the people who are at the front line of dealing with us, the designers, the manufacturing, you know, all the front line of the organization are the ones that will pay the price. And it sucks. It frustrates me so much. It's not often like my professional life, you know, the non-YouTube Chris, and my personal hobby life, YouTube Chris, smashed together like this. But I know a thing or two. Trust me. I mean, I'm credible on this. I know a thing or two about organizational theory and organizational design and stuff. And my experience and my research tells me that layoffs of this nature, especially two batches of layoffs within a 12-month window, less than a 12-month window, is just a sign of a failure of leadership at the top of the organization. It indicates poor decision-making. It indicates poor strategic planning, you know, ability to forecast, to have insight into your you know, your area of specialism, your niche market. It demonstrates an ability to use data and good information to make those decisions. It shows your organization to be, that it's not agile, that it's not responsive, that it's not adaptable to things that are going on. It demonstrates an absence of good quality employee development internally and the opportunity to redeploy. It's short-sighted, it's short-term thinking. You know, I mentioned the shareholders before. It's a focus on their interests and the C-suite interests over the interests of the people who work for them. And you might say, well, Chris, you know, what about the market and all this stuff, you know, changing demographics and changing purchasing habits and unforeseen circumstances. But for layoffs to happen this many times in a 12-month window for one organization, the unforeseen circumstances would have to be pretty epic unforeseen circumstances. And if the payroll bill is still too high, then it still demonstrates bad leadership and management because it means you over-hired, you over-recruited, you took on board too many people, you threw arms and legs at your problems and now you're getting rid of them to cut your payroll bill. So even then, It shows that, again, lack of employee development to deal with concerns, issues, resource management issues that are going on within the organisation because you've hired too many people. If your payroll bill is too high and it's the only answer, which I'm absolutely certain it's not, then even unforeseen circumstances and the shifts in the economy, shifts in the market, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, because if you had management and leadership that was able to use good quality data to make good quality decisions, to be strategic and adaptable and create an agile organisation that can innovate and weather storms, then it shouldn't come down to your payroll bill. It shouldn't come down to your payroll bill. And if it is because you've overhired and you've over-recruited, or you've got to restructure because you need to streamline, or because you need to move offices for whatever reason to make things easier or better, then people end up paying the price. The customer and those who are closest to the customer, who serve our needs best, are the ones that end up paying the price. You're fucking with people's lives. You can probably tell I'm very passionate about this subject. It's something, as I said before, in my professional life, I've had to work with and deal with a great deal for a variety of reasons. I'm not going to get into like my autobiography around that stuff, because who fucking cares? You want YouTube, Chris. But I just feel like so frustrated when I see news of this nature. And also, it has a trickle-down effect. It's so short-term. It's such a short-term focus, the trickle-down effect of this. So I'll give you some examples that I've seen for real in my own experience. The first is that you end up losing good quality, like institutional knowledge, institutional skills, institutional expertise that you won't be able to get back again. You won't be able to get back again, because you'll have killed any loyalty or passion these people have for working in the toy industry. And they're with you because they have a passion for working in the toy industry. What you'll also find as well is that even though it's 100 layoffs, there's going to be more people that go. There's an attrition, a post-layoff, post-redundancy attrition that always happens. And what's going on there is that people will feel uncertain, uncomfortable. They'll feel like, the security within the organisation has been affected. And so even if you have actively laid off what you might describe as the deadwood, which is a whole other conversation about bad leadership, by the way, I'll return to that in a minute. But if you're getting rid of the deadwood, the ones that you wanted to keep, the ones with the good institutional knowledge, skills, behaviours, expertise, they'll still end up going, because you've shaken their loyalty to your organisation, their engagement with your organisation, and their feelings of security, safety and security, which is this is Maslow's shit here. You've got to make people feel safe. Speaking of the layoffs to get rid of the deadwood, that is often a way redundancies and layoffs are used as a tool to cut off those, to get rid of the stuff that you think isn't contributing well to your organisation. But that is yet again another example of poor leadership and poor management, because it means that performance expectations are not being well communicated to these people. You're not then performance managing them when they aren't meeting expectations. You're not reinforcing your culture in a way. So if it's a bad fit kind of situation, then you've not established your cultural identity well enough that they can integrate into your cultural identity. All this stuff is indicating bad leadership. Bottom line, Cox has got to go. He's got to go. You can't keep doing this. It's ridiculous. Just to make people feel like a human resource, like a number like this. It sucks. I'm so passionate about this subject. I fucking hate it. I really hate it, because the incompetence of a few are now trickling down and fucking with the lives of many, And it's just not good. And shareholder loyalty and shareholder interest being held over, the customers and your good quality, skilled, passionate employees who are undoubtedly working for you, because to work for Hasbro and make toys, or to work for Hasbro and make games if you're in Wizards of the Coast, or to work for Hasbro and whatever else, all the other stuff, make computer games and stuff. You are undoubtedly passionate about it. It's like your life's dream coming real, and they just screw you like this. It's I don't know. It's bad. It's really bad. And this won't be the end of it, because they'll end up losing people that they wanted to keep in the first place, and there'll probably be more layoffs on the horizon, because the problems with the ability to be agile, the ability to be an adaptable organisation that can be efficient and minimise waste and resource allocate expertly and understand the potential, you know, take a look at the horizon and understand the trials and tribulations they may be facing. Those problems won't go away. They will still exist. The layoffs are just a short-term, like, short-sighted way of just grabbing some money to cut the payroll bill. And it's bollocks, it's bobbins. Hasbro, again, I doubt you'll ever watch any one of these and give a shit what I've got to say. But you're doing people dirty. You're doing people real dirty with this. It's not on. It's your leadership is the problem. Sort your leadership out. If anyone out there is interested, you know, I've done a lot of reading and research on this subject in my professional life. There's a great story called the Barry Waymiller story that I would suggest you go and check out, because their solution when they were meeting financial trouble, due to a genuine unforeseen circumstance that affected their ability to be profitable and successful, they didn't lay a single person off, not a single person off. They meant it. When they culturally said, as an organisation, we are a family, we're in this together, and they put a load of solutions in place, the least of which was a number of members of the board not taking salary for a year. Reflect on that, Hasbro. You fucking wankers. So anyway, there you go. You can probably tell I'm really passionate about this subject. And when I read stuff like this, especially when, I don't know, I'm just super passionate. It just really fires me up because I've dealt with this many, many times in my professional career. And I just, I have come to the decision, and I think I'm, you know, well supported on this, that layoffs of this nature are just a sign of bad management. Bad management, bad leadership. And the wrong people are being held accountable for that. So I hope you enjoyed that ranty ramble, another collector's thought on the day. Production delays, I think, is probably going to be my next thought of the day. I've got so many thoughts about being an adult collector at the minute. Yeah, drop into the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think layoffs are a result of bad leadership, bad management? What are your anticipated consequences of all this? Blah, 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 all that good stuff. But it's been a pleasure to have you with me here. Thanks for hanging out. I hope to see you around these parts again sometime soon, and I'll catch you later. All right? Ta-ra now.